Alright guys, so now that all 6 of the builds are done, so we're going to start off with a quick tour. First house, or first build is 321 MC Blaster. And you can see here he has built a jungle wood, birch wood, cobblestone stairs, fence, and all that kind of this nice, interesting looking hut that's got the vines and stuff on the inside. He's got a workbench, chest, and a furnace. It's a very nice build that while they were building it, I was kind of saying that it looks like a village hut. Thought that was interesting. But yeah, so that's 321 MC Blaster. Next we have It's Cyber, and he's got a jungle frame here, jungle plank frame, 2 buildings. There's cobblestone stairs, there's vines again, and it looks like we got some jungle leaves at the top, kind of randomly perched on top there. Let's take a look at inside. Okay, so we've got a jungle leaf floor with a workbench in the corner. Oh, and there is some glass. Okay, so there's the attempt to bring in some light there. That's interesting. Onwards. Next we have WormsinSpace's build, and this was very interesting. He's got this mossy stone archway entrance. He's got the netherrack down there that's on fire, some stone slabs. He's got the grass laying down there, jungle leaves, and then he's got these 2 huts on either side, and they seem to be surrounding this central focus point of a beacon, which is pretty interesting. That's quite cool. He was facing off against Stevoism, who didn't quite finish his build, but built a relatively elaborate jungle setup here. So he's got a couple of trees with some jungle leaves, and it looks like he was starting to build his structure when time ran out. He does have an interesting little waterfall in the corner here too. That's quite interesting. Moving on. Next we have Minecraft Brookie, who started off with this wooden structure here and decided to deviate from that. She built a very thick jungle tree here, 3x3. Built it up halfway up the build area. Built a little house off to the side, and seems to be supporting it with this smaller jungle tree. Has another jungle tree over here. And if we go inside, there's actually nothing inside except half of this tree that protruded through. I'm not sure she knew that was happening. But yeah, that's Minecraft Brookie. Lastly, we have Minecraft King 54, and he got almost completed his 2 buildings here, which is unfortunate that he wasn't able to finish it, but he's got 2 buildings here combined with a jungle wood walkway here. There's some fence, there's glass. Go inside here, they're pretty empty, but there's torches around, and on the outside he was just finishing up. He got some dirt blocks down, and he was throwing up some jungle wood saplings. So he was able to get the jungle feel almost into the village feel, but not a bad build altogether. Alright, so now that we've seen all 6 of the builds, we're going to go through and judge each one of them on a point system.
MC Blaster.
Okay, so MC Blaster will be the first one that we're going to judge. So we have 3 categories here: creativity, completedness, whatever, and difficulty. I gotta say, I like the creativity. It does kind of look like a village hut, or like a witch's hut, sorry. But there's a lot of style in this one, a lot of different blocks used, and so Infinite. What are you going to give him out of a 10 for creativity?
Creativity,
although keep in mind,
considering the fact it's a quick build, it's a 15-minute quick build.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Alright, because if we keep that in mind, this has got to be pretty high up there. This has got to be about a 7 or an 8. You've got a lot of different block types, a lot of structure and dimension going.
Yeah, there's a lot of different shapes going on with this one. I'm going to give him a 7 myself, only because it was a jungle village theme, and while he's got a single structure, he's not really capturing the village aspect, and it's also lacking a little bit in the fact that it's supposed to be jungle. But it is a really creative shape, and I really like the structure, so I'm going to give him a 7 for creativity. Astley, what are you going to give him?
I think I've got to give Minecraft King an 8 here.
Not Minecraft King, MC Blaster.
Or, my bad. MC Blaster an 8 here because I really, honestly, I think I could see his build being put into a jungle and fitting in quite well.
That's a good point.
I like, the design. The design is really unique. Although it looks slightly like a witch hut, I think especially with the fence on the stairs and everything and the color and saturation differences with the blocks, I think it looks pretty nice.
Awesome. Okay, so completedness. I mean, we've really already kind of talked his build to death. Infinite, what would you give him for completedness on the topic of Jungle Village?
Well, I'd probably have to.
Oh, Infinite, by the way, you never said specifically whether it was a 7 or an 8 for.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm gonna give him a 7. A 7.
Okay.
All right, all right.
Now, in terms of completeness, the structure in and of itself is complete.
Mm-hmm.
It's done. However, it's not a village.
True.
It's only one of them, and it is not in a jungle. There's nothing to determine this between being jungle or plains or wetlands. I mean, there's nothing there. So I think I'm going to have to give them a 4 for completeness.
Mm-hmm, you know what? I have to kind of agree with you on that one. The fact that, yeah, you could literally plop this anywhere, and quite frankly, it would kind of fit. I'm gonna give him a 4. Well, no, you know what? I'm gonna give him a 5 because the overall structure itself is actually complete. So I'll give him some props for that.
I would like to mention again that this was a 15-minute quick build, so I don't expect anyone to score really high in terms of complete.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I think I've got to give him a 4 as well because it is lacking in multiple buildings as well as specific jungle theme, so to say.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But, yeah.
And finally, difficulty. Now it is quite elaborate. I got to give him that. Like he's got fences in the windows there. I mean that's kind of the style. But you know he's got a lot of different kinds of materials and components that he's put into this. So, Infinite, what would you give him for difficulty?
For difficulty, I'm gonna have to rate it a little higher, probably a 6, for the simple fact that him and its cyber both crafted materials.
You know what they did? You're right.
They
were asked beforehand, and I'm sure it's going to reflect in the videos. All of them were asked what items they would like, and the 2 of them decided to craft workbenches out of their wood, and the furnace. I don't think I remember giving him a furnace.
No, there was no furnace.
The chests, everything they crafted themselves, so that does take away time from their build and makes it a little bit more difficult to accomplish the task. So, what's your final score? You said was it 6?
6, yes.
Okay, I'm gonna have to answer that as well. I'm gonna go 6. Ashley?
I'm gonna go 8 with it for
okay.
difficulty on this one. I liked it a lot.
Cool. All right, so MC Blaster, that is your score. We'll have a final tally at the end of the video. On to It's Cyber. So creativity, I gotta say that was the one thing that I found kind of lacking about his build. The only thing I thought was creative was the use of jungle leaves as the floor in this one building. I've never seen a leaf floor before. I thought it was kind of interesting, but otherwise, I mean, this is kind of the hut that you would find outside of, you know, like 5 minutes outside of our spawn that a noob built when they had basic resources. So I don't know. What would you give for creativity, Infinite?
For creativity, I'm probably going to have to score this one relatively low because the building that is finished is a box. And the other building that is not finished is not much box.
It's a circle. It's a boxy circle.
It's almost circular. You can't really make a circle that small in Minecraft, so I'll have to give them points for trying, but I can't go any higher than 5 here.
Okay, that's kind of high. I'm actually gonna have to go with a 4 myself, just because it just looks kind of basic. Like I said, you know, you would find this 5 seconds outside of our spawn from somebody that's been building. I do like the leaf floor and the tessellated floor over here that they attempted to go with the pattern. That's kind of cool. But the floors are really the only thing that I find creative about this. Astley?
I can see that he put some work and thinking into it. I think I got to go with a 5 on this one because he definitely tried hard and he did pretty well for what he had.
All right. So completedness. Now, he does have an unfinished roof over here. But Infinite, what would you give him for completedness?
Completedness, again, there's not really anything to determine that it's in a jungle. I mean, he's got some jungle wood building blocks, he's got some vines up, but either of these buildings could be plopped anywhere in this world, and I think I've seen something similar to these near spawn at some point. Again, there's also no door here. He tried to sneak that in there after we stopped the timer, but this is a 1x hole. You cannot go into it. So, again, completedness, gotta go with 4. And again, 15-minute quick build, so...
Yeah. Not expecting huge scores on that one. I'm going to have to agree with you and go with a 4 on that as well. Yeah, it's not complete. I mean, I think he wasted a little bit too much time with the front of this. I remember watching him do this front part right here with the cobblestone. He spent a lot of time trying to, I don't know, coordinate where he's going to put these cobblestones when he didn't even finish off the actual roof itself. So I'm going to go with a 4. Astley?
I got to hit him hard on this one. With the first building, it was finished, and I kind of don't like that it was a box. And then especially the second building, I didn't like it since it wasn't completed. So I got to give him a 3 on that.
Okay. Alrighty. And our final category is difficulty. So again, we're looking back at the fact that he did craft a workbench, and he crafted his own doors. So Infinite, what would you give him for difficulty?
I believe on the last one I gave him 6 or a 7.
I think you gave him a 6.
6? I'm going to have to go just one more up with a 7 because of his real attempt to create a pattern over here. Twisted logs. I watched him place and cut quite a few logs in order to get them twisted and rotated around some sort of a pattern. Flawed as it might be, that counts in my book.
So what? Sorry, what was your score?
A 7.
Okay. I'm gonna have to go with. I feel kind of cheap, but I have to go with a 5 on this one. I do like the attempt to get the tessellated floor down here, the patterned floor. But in terms of difficulty, there's really, you know, it's just this would not be difficult to recreate. And yeah, he did waste a little bit of time doing things, and he didn't seem to waste any time crafting his items. So I'm gonna have to lowball it. I'm gonna have to go with a 5 on this one. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Cyber.
Right.
Astley?
I admire the attempt to build a second building, and I definitely liked the tessellated floor, and like you were saying earlier, I liked the grass floor, or what was it? The leaves for the floor earlier. Mm-hmm. So I think I got to score him in between you guys and give him a 6.
Okay.
Wait,
all right, so that's...
I have one question.
Yeah.
Did MC Blaster craft his own door as well?
Yes.
Yes.
Ooh, I had kind of given him an extra point over here for crafting the 2 doors. So I might have to reduce mine down to a 6.
Okay. Alrighty. Again, Cyber, your score will be listed at the end once we're done with our final tallies.
You decreased your score for Cyber on elaborateness or
difficulty?
Or difficulty.
Difficulty? Okay. So 17.
All right. On to the next one. So we're heading over to WormsinSpace, and I gotta say, right off the bat, this is my favorite build. I don't know how that's going to be reflected in the scores, but this is probably my favorite build of the whole day. So, in terms of creativity, what would you give him, Infinite?
Creativity, there's a lot of creativity here. We've got the fire going on. We've got some moss cobblestone. That might be the only place that this came into play. And jungle temples are about 70% moss stone, so very multifaceted. We got a lot of... Beacon throws me off a little bit, but only because it's out of place. That doesn't make it uncreative. It just makes it out of place. Did he intentionally make this half a roof?
No, I think he's trying to complete it. That was...
He got cut off.
Yeah. That's the only place where I'm going to dock him points, because had he not tried to complete it, this would have been so much better.
Yes.
Tip for next time. If it looks good, don't change it. So, a final score, Infinite, on creativity.
I'm going to give him a 7 for creativity.
Okay. Like I was saying, this is my favorite build. I like the fact that he's got multiple huts, so he's giving us the village. He's got all of the aspects, with the exception of an actual jungle tree of a jungle, which I really appreciate actually completing that. So he gets marks there. He's the only person that incorporated fire, and I got to be honest, I kind of like the beacon, because you think about like a village in the jungle, you kind of think like people who don't have anything, they're kind of roughing it in the woods and stuff, and I just kind of think that tribal people living in the jungle, they would have an altar to some kind of weird technology like that. So I'm gonna score this one pretty high, and I apologize if nobody else agrees with me. I'm gonna have to give this one a 9.
Alright.
Astley.
I think, okay, with worms is the way I'm gonna judge it is, if I threw it into the middle of a jungle, how would it look? For the building structure and most of the components it's built out of, I would probably have given him a 9, but then the beacon kind of threw me off a bit, like Infinite said, and I can't see fire being in the being in a jungle, because that would just burn it. That would just flat out burn it down.
That is a very good point.
I think I got to give him a 7.
Okay.
So what was your score on that, Infinite?
Mine was a 7 as well.
Okay. So 7, 7, and a 9. All right. Completedness. Infinite.
Well, till you told me he was trying to complete this, I would have scored him really high on that, because I like the ruinous type of feel I get from this wall just being part missing. But he has a lot of stuff done. I mean, he doesn't have these roofs capped off with the leaves, but I don't know he really wanted to. So I'm probably going to have to score him pretty high on completedness and give him an 8.
Okay. All right. So this is going to happen once I upload this video. He's totally going to be like, "No, I meant to do that."
Yeah, I was just...
Well, once the decision's made, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. In terms of completedness, so you scored him an 8?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I'm going to have to go, this is going to be my low ball. I'm going to have to go with a 6. He doesn't have any jungle trees, which to me, I feel like that would have been his next step, to make it really feel like a jungle. And having this not completed when it already was completed in my mind, he didn't need to branch out this last wall. Now, if that was his ultimate goal, I apologize, but I'm going to have to give him a 6 for completedness, because that wall really bugs me. And I'm a stickler like that.
Yeah, I kind of got to agree on this one. I didn't like that there were no jungle trees. I gotta say, I really can't tell whether he did mean to make that overhang or not left there like it was, but I think it was because he just didn't have the time to finish. So for completion, I think I'm going to give him a 7.
Okay. Lastly, difficulty. Infinite.
Difficulty. Kind of hard to judge difficulty when you didn't watch it happen.
That is true.
But he's got a lot of different buildings, a lot of different places, and honestly, I'm gonna have to give him a little bump for the fact that there's fire and wood in close proximity to each other.
And they're not burning each other down.
Exactly. That could have been disastrous. And again, in order to place the netherrack, pull out your flint and steel, and then light it, that counts for something. So I'm going to give him a 7 for difficulty.
Yeah. I think in this one, I'm actually going to have to agree with you on the 7. I was leaning more towards the 8, but I'm going to have to go for the 7. And the only reason that I'm going to give him that high... well, no, you know what? I'm going to give him an 8. And here's why. He originally started off by building pillars. And then he ripped those pillars down. And then he rebuilt the pillars. And then he ripped them down. And then he rebuilt them again, and then ripped them down, and then put this this grass block down, and then started building his final structure. So the fact that he completed as much as he did in the time allotted, and just with the elaborate nature of the build itself, I'm going to have to give him an 8 on this, because this would have been very difficult to complete in about the 12 minutes that he gave himself after he rebuilt 3 times.
Actually, you literally took the words out of my mouth on that one. I gotta say, I gotta give him an 8 too.
Oh,
Okay.
wait. We do have to discuss the elephant in the room,
What's that?
which is the fact that WormsinSpace had almost a half an hour additional to consider what materials he wanted and how he wanted to place them.
Right, because he wasn't here originally.
He was the first contestant who was booted out of the first round after leaving the game.
I bump it down 1-7.
Yeah, okay, let's take his difficulty. Everybody goes down by 1 because he did have that extra time to think about it.
Okay.
Are we agreeing on
That's
that?
yeah, that
A
sounds
total 3-point deduction.
Okay.
fair. I still think that he's got a good chance of winning this whole thing, but we
He
shall
does.
see. Let's continue to Steve-Oism. All right, so Steve-O, unfortunately, he fell many times trying to build this one tree over here, and he never did complete his hut. But we're going to start with creativity, infinite.
I like it. I do. Now, I'm not going to score him too high because he's my friend, and that's going to cost him here. Because I've got to assume that I'm biased and knock him down a bit. But yeah, I like where he was going with the building, even though he wasn't nearly complete with it. I mean, come on, dude. This is almost embarrassing. This is like me doing the staff build. So I'm going to go probably a 6. Well, no. Because he's got this fountain over here. He's got the tree that comes up with the branch coming out of it.
Yeah.
I give him a 7. I do.
Okay. I'm actually going to agree with you. You know, it's not complete, and we'll talk about the completedness of it in a second, but he does have this very large tree, which he fell down from, and then went back up, and then fell down again. I do like the fact that it's got a branch. You know, he didn't just put a sapling down and grow it. There is that creativity in actually building a tree. I gotta say, he's the only person that added this waterfall, and it's a nice touch, man. Having this little waterfall in the corner here, that's pretty cool. For creativity, I'll agree. I'll go with 7.
Steve-O gets my golden star. I love the fact that he put the waterfall in there. I really like that he made the little what is it, like the lake type thing in the center?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've seen those in jungles all the time, and I've never seen anyone think of building a structure on it. So I love that. And although he didn't complete it, he tried to make it as much like a look as much like a jungle as he could. And he also added a little interesting change to one of the jungle trees. So I'm going to give him my only 10.
Wow.
Wow.
He gets a 10.
10 from the owner, Steven.
He didn't even get a building up, and he gets a 10. That's interesting. Okay, so a 10 for Steve-O in creativity from Astley. Next, we're going to talk about completedness, and this is where he's going to get knocked down big time. So, infinite, completedness.
Alright, well, completedness, actually, I'm not going to knock him down that big, because even though his village is not complete, which honestly is true of every one of these builds,
Mm-hmm.
he has a complete jungle setup. I mean,
True.
complete. There's one missing block next to his chest here. That's it. That's better than me with my beach, and I was in creative mode. So I'm not gonna put him. Man. I want to give him a lot of points for that, but based on the fact that he barely even started his building, and what appears to be only one building, I need to make it a 5.
A 5, okay. Well, I guess he's going to take the hard hit from me. I do like the fact that of all the builds, he's the only one that actually attempted to make a jungle. Well, actually, no, that's not true. That's not true. Brookie did have a jungle. But completedness, the trees are complete. The waterfall is complete, but the house looks like it was, raided and griefed by a noob or something like that, because it's there's no walls, there's barely a floor, and the stilts are just standing. I'm gonna have to really lowball, and I'm gonna have to go with a 2 on this one, boys.
A 2.
All right.
A 2, yeah, sorry. 2.
Counteracting the owner.
That's not my plan. That's not my plan. That's just my score. Astley, completedness.
Like I said, I liked this one a lot, so Oh, the theme was jungle village. He didn't get the building up in the end, so really for completion, I have to give him a 5 as well. By
Okay.
the way, really quickly, what did you guys both give him on creativity?
Um,
Crap, I don't remember.
I gave him a 7.
Yeah, I
I
remember that
think
one.
yes. I think I also agreed with the 7,
Okay, okay.
and then you gave him the 10.
All right.
Okay, so difficulty. This is where my score is going to be interesting, I think. Infinite difficulty.
Difficulty's gonna be back up there, probably another 7. I watched him fall from this thing a lot, and it's not just the tree, the fact that it comes out and he had to shift click all of that. He also went back, he stuck the vines on it,
hmm
uh, and he laid like this entire sheet of grass down here. So I'm gonna have to give him a 7.
Yeah, he's the only one that decided to layer his entire floor, with the exception of that, obviously the chest, with an actual block. There's other people that attempted to create a floor, but they did not go the whole way. So that's definitely a big difficulty points for me. I'm right up there as well. I might have to go one more and go with an 8. And here's why. Okay, so he laid the grass down. He got this water fountain going. He built the trees. Well, yeah, I mean, he built the trees. He didn't use saplings. He built the trees. He started getting his building done. But in the midst of all of this, he didn't want WormsinSpace cheating, so he built a stone wall in front of the glass. He took time out of his build to make sure that Worms wasn't looking at what he was doing, and he built a cobblestone wall. So I'm going to have to give him an 8 for difficulty because he did cover the entire floor. He built his own trees, and he took time out to prevent somebody else from looking at him.
Uh,
Ashley?
that was my favorite part of the whole build-off, when he went over and covered that window with cobblestone.
I'm so happy I got that on tape, too. Tape.
And uh, and yeah, I liked his build a lot. And the way I was looking at it earlier is, if we went through and world edited all those bedrock walls and said, which one of these areas could you have thought was just freshly taken out of a jungle, I could have thought his was.
Mhm.
So I'm going to give him a 9.
Wow. High praise for Steve-Oism here from the owner. Okay, so that was Steve-Oism's build. Let's move on to Minecraft Brookie. Okay, so Brookie had the small grass plot of jungle with a big, thick jungle in the middle, or jungle tree, sorry, and 3 smaller trees around the outside, and a small jungle wood hut. Let's start with creativity. Infinite.
Can I enter this thing anywhere?
You can compass in.
Oh,
It's basically just a block with a tree protruding in. No.
Okay, alright. Activity, I like the use of bone meal. I like the fact that in this little plot it's very jungle-esque. I
Yes.
mean, there's no mistaking the fact that, you know, right here you're in the middle of a jungle.
Yeah.
So that counts, but then again, I'm not entirely sure that that counts as being creative.
That's a good point.
Or if that is just following the parameters. I would have really liked to have been able to see a door or a window or something in here where I could at least enter it, so I could
Yeah.
say that, you know, it's a tree house.
Some point of
And-
access, yeah.
Yeah, then I would have been able to score this pretty high. But wait. She made this entire big tree, placed all of these leaves.
Yes. Yes, this was not a sapling.
Well, I'm
This-
sorry, Minecraft Rookie, but that's only going to get you a 5 from me. I do give you a 5 for this big tree, though. I like it. It took me a moment to realize that you placed each one of these blocks. They are tapered and set in a manner that, yeah, that's fairly natural. I can see that.
Mhm.
I accept.
So, a 5?
5.
Okay. For me, the only real points of creativity, I like the fact that she built these little root things down here, coming out of the ground with the jungle wood. I thought that was really interesting to have these coming off at the base of the big tree showing roots. I thought that was really interesting. Beyond that, though, there's really not a lot of creativity. The tree fort that is up here, there's no access, and it's basically just a box. So, you know, that kind of docks points off for me. The use of bone meal, I believe she was the only person that used bone meal on her grass, so she does have flowers and some actual grass coming up, which is interesting. But I'm going to have to lowball the creativity on this one. I'm going to have to give it a 4. Ashley?
No comment. Just kidding. I think I'm gonna give Brookie a 6 on this one because I liked the roots a lot. I myself was doing a build project in the past, and had so much trouble with doing tree roots, and I admired that she could do it that quickly. So I'm gonna give her a 6.
Okay.
All right.
Completedness. Infinite.
This is where she's going to lose some points for me.
Me too.
This square is very complete. I love it. But we've got a lot of bedrock around here. There is no door, no window, no anything that will let me determine that this is a building, which would have been her one building of the Jungle Village theme. Now, you also have this. What is this? Why is this here?
I know that everybody already saw it, but this is what she was frantically trying to destroy as the time was counting down, and as she got to 0, she had 6 blocks left to destroy, and this is gonna hit for me too.
It is. It is. In terms of completion, I like the jungle. I do. But there's only one building with no entrance, and this thing bugs the crap out of me. If it wasn't there, I could go higher, but as it is, I'm staying at 3.
3, okay. I mean, it's exactly like you said, you know, for this plot of land that she's designated as her jungle village, it's very complete. With the exception of the tree fort that you cannot access, what she built on that plot of land is complete. It is not, however, a jungle village. It is a jungle, but it's not a village. It is a jungle with a box on it. And this thing over here, yeah, the anal builder in me is very unhappy with this. I'm gonna score her 1 higher just because she did complete the jungle. I'm gonna go with a 4.
I'm gonna have to agree with you on that, Echo. I'm gonna give her a 4 as well, because just the same reason as I liked Steve-O's. She went for the jungle thing, but her building was, or at least the building style was less impressive to me. So 4.
Okay, and lastly for Minecraft Brookie, difficulty, infinite.
She Alright, so this tree is bone meal, yes?
All of the skinny trees were saplings. The thick one in the middle, that was manually built.
Alright, so now my next question is it solid or hollow?
I believe it is solid.
It's solid. Okay. Well, that is a lot of pillaring to do.
Yes.
In a matter of 15 minutes.
Which she fell off of every time she got up to 3 squares. And obviously she had to in order to continue building, but
Alright.
it took a while for her to get that part done.
You know, I'm sorry, I just really don't see building this being entirely too difficult. It's a lot of wood blocks placed on top of each other, some bone meal and everything. I mean, yeah, it's got style and it looks good, but I don't see it being hard. Probably the most complicated thing about this would be making the roots from the large jungle tree look decent, which she did.
Yeah, she definitely did make those look good.
But
So
I'd say in all, the difficulty's not higher than 5.
Okay. I'm actually gonna go a little bit higher than you, and here's why. I like the roots. She manually built the tree in the middle, and even though she was not able to delete this entire thing, she, like WormsinSpace, started off with I think it was 6x6 building in this corner. And once she completed that and decided she no longer wanted it, She left it there, and that probably took her, a minute to build, which, I mean, that's not a lot of time to take away. But that took her a minute to build, and then she trashed that idea and then started placing blocks over here. Getting the roots down, yeah, that's going to take a little bit more difficulty, and pillaring this 3x3 tree trunk up is a lot more difficult than you may think. So I don't know what I originally said there. I'm going to give her a 6 for difficulty, just because of the restart and the root system. Ashley?
Huh. With hers, the difficulty, I gotta say, I like the work, especially since it was so thick. There was a lot of work that had to have gone into that. Also getting up there again so she could build the hut, and then getting rid of her tower to get up there quick enough to still try and destroy her other building on the side, which she had left there. As well as the roots, I'm going to give her a 6-2.
Next, the last build is Minecraft King 54. So let's start off with creativity on this jungle wood build with a little walkway in the middle. Infinite creativity.
Creativity,
You guys got to kind of give me a rundown of that, because I only saw half of it being built and I had to log out. So.
Okay.
Or wait, no, I saw the whole thing. It's just I don't remember.
It's where you go up the 2 sets of stairs. It's almost entirely jungle wood planks.
Oh.
There are the fences flanking on either side.
Yeah, I got
To the left and to the right, there are a building each. The one is complete, the other one is missing its roof and its back wall.
I remember watching that now, yeah.
Alright, so what was the first score? What
Creativity.
Was the first Creativity. I like the fact that it's slightly elevated with the walkway. I do. Now, you guys know how I am with structure. So, of course, the fact that these buildings are floating and the fences are floating, that bugs me. It does. Now, that doesn't really take any hits against creativity. He does have a lot of depth, at least to his walkway. But then you get to the box rooms.
Yep.
I'm not seeing a whole lot to be impressed with here. He is the only person who used double doors. And he has a stair taper up top. Personally, I would have found it a little more creative if he did the slab, half slab, the half slab block. But if that's what everyone does, then isn't doing something different being more creative?
Yes.
He also does have both aspects of village
And jungle.
Yeah, with the jungle trees around.
Yeah. So for a score on creativity, what would you give him?
Creativity, I can't go that high. Because we're talking about a walkway with fences and some square buildings. So I'm going to have to stay at about 5 for creativity.
Okay. To me, that was a little bit generous. When he was building it, I wasn't really thinking too much about it, but coming back here and seeing it, I got to go back to what I was saying about its cyber, and the fact that I have literally seen this building outside of our spawn about 100 times. I've regenerated areas with buildings like this 100 times. The other thing that really bugs me, and it's just a small little pet peeve, but I like symmetry. Now, if it's asymmetrical, fine, but when it is obviously meant to be symmetrical, I find little problems like this where the fence is 1 away from the building as opposed to this side where it's 2 away from the building. That bugs me.
I hadn't even noticed that.
So I got to dock points for that. Completedness, obviously, it's not done, but I can see where he was going with it, and it's just there's not a lot of creativity here. They are jungle wood blocks or cubes, sorry, and
Very
it's just it's very basic, and they don't have any way of actually supporting themselves. This is a floating house, so I'm gonna have to go with a 3 for creativity myself. Astley?
I think there is an existing copy of this about 500 blocks out of spawn. So I'm gonna knock him down a bit lower than Infinite, a bit higher than you, Echo. So I'm gonna give him a 4.
Okay.
So was that 5, 4, 3?
Yep, 5, 4, and 3.
All right. 2, 1, boom.
Okay, completedness. Or completion. Maybe that's the right word. Infinite.
What's the third rank? Third thing we score on?
Difficulty.
It goes creativity, completion, difficulty.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to give him a 4, because even though he does have aspects of both the jungle and the village, he's completed neither of them.
Mm-hmm.
He got a fair enough start on both of them that you can see where he was starting to go, but his jungle is just some jungle trees that he slapped in literally the last 30 seconds. And yeah, we've already talked about the building.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is, again, this one missing its back wall and its roof.
Mm-hmm. So what's your score out of 10?
A 4.
4. Okay. I just realized that even though the buildings are floating, it looks like he was trying to put a dirt layer down. So that's another layer of uncompletedness or incompletion, whatever. Another layer of which he's not completed his task at hand. I can obviously see where he was going with it, but there's not a lot of completion. So I may have to score another 3 on this one. It's a good attempt. I think he may have bit off a little bit more than he could chew for what the build was in the time that he had. But I mean, let's keep in mind that this is a 15-minute build challenge, and probably for a lot of these people, their very first attempt at one. So I'll give him a 3, and better luck next time, buddy. Ashley.
My thoughts at looking at his build are half finished, so I'm going to go with half the scale and give him 5.
Okay, nice and easy. All right, then the last category and the last build is difficulty. Infinite.
Well, I think the most difficult thing for him here was the fact that I was watching him. In fact, he sent me a message to that effect shortly after he finished. He was like, "Oh man, it's like the fact that you were watching me the whole time. It's like it made me so nervous." I could have been vanished. I could have been. And I remember what that's like when we had 15 people watching us do our quick build. I did not like that very much. So, I'm not going to be too harsh or too generous with him. I'm going to give him a 4, just like I did for completion.
Okay. For difficulty, for me, difficulty of his build, I gotta say, maybe I agree with the 4, but based on my scaling system in the time that he had and what he was able to accomplish versus some of the other people, what they were able to accomplish, maybe I'll agree with you. I'll go with a 4 on this as well. It would not be difficult to replicate this by any means, but there is the attempt there to create this into a village. He does have both aspects of the village and the jungle. The village and the jungle. The jungle and the village. 2 houses and the jungle. It's just very incomplete. So had he had more time, he probably would have gotten it done. But like I said before, I think he bit off a little bit more than he could chew with everything he wanted to get done. So I'll agree with the 4.
All right.
Ashley?
4. Done.
4. Done.
All right.
Okay. All right.
All
So
right.
we will come up with a final tally, and we will announce a winner.
I'll tally them up right now. So cue the Jeopardy music.
All right, guys. So the votes have been tallied, and we have crowned a winner. Ashley, who is the winner of this contest?
No one. Just kidding.
No one.
WormsinSpace is our winner with 64 total points.
64 points. And who was our second and third position?
The second place winner is Stevoism with 60 points.
Oh, that was close.
So he's the first runner-up. And in third place, second runner-up is MC Blaster.
Ah.
And he has 55 points.
55. So that was a very close run, and that's good.
That was.
So, I'm just running through I forgot his name. WormsinSpace's build right now. Lots of elaborate work here. He's very creative, and I think it was the best build of the day. The only part missing really was the jungle trees, but ultimately this was, I think, the best representation. I think, Ashley, you put it really well. You could take this build, put it in the middle of a jungle, and it would be believable that it's part of that biome. And so that's a big reason why he won. So congrats, WormsinSpace. And I believe you're still online, so you're not going to be able to talk to me, but I'm going to flood to you. And you see in my inventory right now, there's 25 diamonds in your name. So let's go and TP to WormsinSpace, and hopefully he's not doing something illegal.
Yeah,
That would suck.
The prize for Worms is 25. Prize for Stevo is 10. Prize for MC Blaster is 5. Diamonds.
So I'm just going to warp him to my island.
All right.
And warp him there with me.
Sounds good.
All right, so WormsinSpace, you cannot talk, but you are the winner, and you have not appeared on my screen yet. I'm sure you're already here. There he is. Okay, so WormsinSpace, you are the winner of 25 diamonds.
Is this being typed out as well, or?
Sure.
Was that me or you typing it out?
Me.
Okay, okay.
Congrats, WormsinSpace. We look forward to seeing if you can maintain your title of Player Build-Off winner in the next round of Player Build-Off. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.